The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also noted that the Chinese side, in its press statement, once again deliberately distorted our country's sovereign status and relevant historical facts. In fact, China deliberately misinterprets World War II documents, including the Cairo Declaration, the Potsdam Proclamation, and the San Francisco Peace Treaty, primarily to coerce Taiwan. However, these documents and relevant United Nations resolutions have not determined Taiwan's final political status. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs must strongly reiterate this. The Republic of China, Taiwan, is a sovereign independent state, not subordinate to the People's Republic of China. This is a fact recognized by the international community and the objective status quo across the Taiwan Strait.
Taiwan has drawn a hard red line, and Beijing is not liking it. Just hours after President Xi Jinping pressed his sovereignty claim in a call with U.S. President Donald Trump, Taiwan's Premier Cho Jung-tai walked out of Parliament and delivered the clearest message yet. For the 23 million people of our nation, return is not an option. With that single declaration, Taipei rejected Beijing's long-standing narrative that Taiwan somehow returned to China after World War II and dismissed the one country, two systems model as dead on arrival. Taiwan's foreign ministry went further, accusing China of distorting World War II history and using intimidation to isolate Taiwan and pressure Japan.
Furthermore, regarding Beijing's deliberate distortion of WWII history and misinterpretation of relevant documents, the US has repeatedly and clearly expressed its opposition. China has repeatedly, through its authoritarian expansionism, sought to intimidate and pressure Taiwan and neighboring countries like Japan in the region. This deviates from the UN Charter's principle of no threat or use of force in international relations and the international order based on peaceful dispute resolution. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs calls on the international community to be highly vigilant and jointly counter China through false narratives and so-called legal warfare, strengthens its arguments for internalizing the Taiwan issue, attempting to seek false legitimization for military action against Taiwan, a malicious intent.
Across the region, Japan is already locked in its own storm with Beijing. New Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, just weeks into office, stunned China by warning that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could trigger a Japanese military response, breaking decades of careful ambiguity. Tokyo doubled down today. Japan's government spokesperson said Beijing's accusations were contrary to the facts and totally unacceptable, urging Japan to send a strong message of disapproval.
Claims from the Chinese side that go against the facts cannot be accepted, and as the Japanese government, we believe it is necessary to firmly refute and disseminate information. Therefore, regarding the post on social media by the Chinese embassy in Japan concerning the former enemy clauses you mentioned, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs appropriately issued a statement regarding the facts.
And
a letter from the Chinese ambassador to the United Nations addressed to Secretary General Guterres was issued over the past weekend. In response to this, just a short while ago, Ambassador Kazuyuki Yamazaki, Japan's permanent representative to the United Nations, dispatched a letter to Secretary General Guterres explaining Japan's official position concerning the communication from the Chinese side.
China's anger has since exploded outward. Economic retaliation, travel restrictions, canceled exchanges, and now a diplomatic clash at the United Nations. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi accused Takaichi of crossing a red line and warned of a resolute response. In Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning delivered a lengthy, pointed lecture, at times rewriting history, at times directly challenging Tokyo and Taipei.
Since President Trump's second term, the heads of state of China and the United States have maintained frequent exchanges. From what I understand, this particular call was initiated by the American side. The atmosphere of the phone call was positive, friendly, and constructive. The two heads of state communicated on matters of mutual concern, which is extremely important for the stable development of China-US relations. The phone call between the US and Japanese leaders is a matter between them, and I have no comment. As for the Taiwan question, it is China's internal affair and brooks no external interference. Those who make such statements are either ignorant of history or deliberately distort history or disregard international law. In 1945, Japan signed its Instrument of Surrender, clearly pledging to faithfully fulfill the Potsdam Proclamation, unconditionally returning Taiwan to China. China resumed its exercise of sovereignty over Taiwan, both legally and de facto, reclaiming the island. In 1949, the People's Republic of China government replaced the Republic of China government. This was a regime change where China's international legal status remained unaltered. China's sovereignty and inherent territorial limits were unchanged. The government of the People's Republic of China rightfully and fully enjoys and exercises China's sovereignty, including sovereignty over Taiwan. The 1972 China-Japan Joint Statement clearly stipulates that the government of Japan acknowledges the government of the People's Republic of China as the sole legitimate government of China. There is only one China in the world, and Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. This is an ironclad fact that cannot be distorted or altered. Japanese officials have recently repeatedly stated that their consistent position or stance remains unchanged. So we have clearly asked the Japanese side, what exactly is the specific content of Japan's so-called consistent position? Can the Japanese side fully and openly articulate this consistent position? The Japanese side has repeatedly reiterated its so-called unchanged stance, but has consistently failed to address the core issue. In reality, the Japanese side is deliberately avoiding China's demand to retract its erroneous remarks, attempting to muddle through. This forces the international community to question whether Japan truly possesses the sincerity and takes action to reflect on itself and correct its errors.
On the same day, Taiwan's military reported spotting yet another Chinese balloon crossing the Taiwan Strait, the latest addition to a winter pattern Taipei calls military harassment. As this geopolitical triangle tightened, Prime Minister Takaichi delivered a surprising note in Parliament, one directed not at Beijing, but at Washington. She revealed that she maintains a direct line to U.S. President Donald Trump.
In light of the current international situation and following President Trump's recent visit to Japan, I believe we were able to reaffirm the strong and close cooperation between our two nations, Japan and the United States. President Trump conveyed to me that I am a very close friend of his and that he would like me to call him at any time. Regarding the content of our meeting, however, as this was a diplomatic exchange, I must respectfully refrain from disclosing the details.